How's it going, guys? This is part 2B, Darin Geddes, from its Crime and Shame live on the 20th of June 2025. I have to say, guys, Darin is like an old woman when he starts talking. Anyway, these videos are for finding out what happened to Jack and Lilly Sullivan and who said what, who lied, and why. If you are a YouTuber and you would like to use my video on your channel, that's fine with me. Part 2B, Darin Geddes' words on its Crime and Shame, live 20th of June 2025. As I've explained, I couldn't get her there. I couldn't do that. And some of it was time, and don't forget, I had to judge my relatives just the same as I had to judge Daniel's family. And I looked at my relatives who I know a little bit better than Daniel's family, quite a bit better, and their characteristics of them. It struck me. It's took me a long time because Malaya shut down, you see. The Mackenzies and Daniel and another person on that side never shut down on me. Logan never shut down on me. She gave me information and helped me, and I helped her because we was helping each other to try and figure these kids out. Logan wanted these kids brutal, I mean. She's still trying to get Meadow. I'm excited. You listen to Daniel's testimony about that morning, okay? Listen to that again and listen to what he says about, you just listen to his testimony about what he says. How can I say this? Because my source, I can't say something that's, I made a deadly promise to keep this person out of this. Look at Daniel's testimony again about what really happened that morning. And okay, Sonny, I mentioned to you before this about possibly the plan that Malaya had to get out of there, and I mentioned to you how it sort of got half uncovered. How it sort of bodged up that morning. Daniel's mother was in the camper and they didn't think she was home, okay? So that's what threw Malaya's plan into total shit, because early in the morning at that side of the road there was somebody there that, you know, Daniel's mum naturally, and Daniel said this. Believe this, I'm getting a lot of this from Daniel, but I also corroborated it 3 different ways. Now, Daniel made a lot of mistakes himself in his testimony. He changed it all the time, and it's totally up to you guys. I'm not protecting Daniel anymore. I'm leaving it all up to other people. I'm leaving it up to the RCMP. I'm leaving it up to, I don't care, your viewers, whoever wants to. Daniel and I are friends until he does something that, if he does something that makes me not his friend, then we will not be friends. And I don't believe Daniel's tells AAA. I believe Daniel's not totally faultless in this relationship issue, okay? But what went on between Daniel's relationship and Malaya's relationship, that's not there's no man has the right, if they're living together and they're trying to get along, no matter what is happening, there's nobody has the right to step between them until somebody cries for help. So that's my position on that. Now, so as far as any abuse or drug use or stuff like that, that's not my business. Malaya and Daniel live together, so anything they did together, as a couple and kept it private. It's nobody's business but theirs, because they decided to be together and be private. But this thing here, as soon as this happened, well, then it went from being private to public, because once those kids needed to be found and needed the search, well, then it turned out to be everybody's business, because everyone needed to look for them kids. So then it wasn't just Daniel's business and Malaya's business as a relationship. It was a serious goddamn issue to try to save these lives of these two kids. I lied to some of you guys, and I lied to some of your viewers, and I'll tell you why. Because there was information I needed to take my next step, and I had the choice of either lying or don't forget, I have a lot of my relatives and the Mackenzies and a lot of people are watching everything I said out here. So to get a reaction out of them, I had a choice. I wanted them to get a message, and some of the lies I said was to get them to trust me. Right, and so I had the choice. If I had to lie to get this person that was involved in this to trust me, so I could get information that I needed to get close to the kids, I'd lie 10 times, okay? So I apologise to the people that they're probably some of your viewers. There's a lot of smart people, you know, there's some very intelligent individual people. And some of them might have even caught the lies and recognised the lies, but the majority never. And the members of my family that I lied to get through this, and the other members of people I lied to get through this, I just want them to realise I lied to them to get information, to get as far as I got to find out about these kids, and I don't regret it for a minute. The information I found out this afternoon, okay, I will tell you. People, what I did, I was worried today. Like I said, I come up against a dead end. And I was worried today. My view on this has seriously changed over one issue. Let me see. Can I tell you what the issue was? Okay. I had started to seriously wonder about Daniel. Okay, I started to seriously, before I was all through this, I would find out information that led me to him, but then Jesus, then something else would lead me away from him. And then I would find out information that would lead me to Malaya and her friends, but then Jesus, it would steer me away. And then I would find out information that would lead me to Malaya and her friends, but then Jesus, it would steer me away. So, it was like back and forth. And gradually I just cut things down. Now here's what really pissed me off, okay, today. What really got me going, when Daniel told me, now I'm telling you what Daniel testified to himself. He testified it in interviews, and he testified it directly to me numerous times. He testified to Logan, he testified to everybody. Daniel's claim was that on the morning this happened, she got up, realised the kids was gone. She went outside, him and Malaya went outside, and Malaya was kind of stunned and looking guilty. And Daniel said, well, where's the kids? And she said, they're gone. And he said, where have they gone? Where are the kids? And how long have they been gone? And she said, 20 minutes. First she said, where are they? And she said she thought they was in the woods. So Daniel and the 30 seconds he talked about, the first he was in the woods, that everybody said, Jesus, how did he go all around the country in 30 seconds? No, it was 2 different times. They have a little cabin beside the house that they made the kids play in. Actually, there's 2 if you go halfway down the driveway, then left over the shoulder of the driveway and then back towards the trailer. There's a little half-assed log cabin that somebody made for them, and it has like a playhouse for the kids and okay. And there's another little behind that cut out from under a tree. There's toys scattered in there and that. So Daniel's first thoughts was they're up in the cabin or they're in the playhouse. He ran down the driveway, ran up over the little bank up by the cabin, and he did a whole circle in under 30 seconds. And then his mother was out looking for the kids. So then Daniel said to Malaya, well, where are the kids? She, somewhere along the line, he got the idea she was saying they're in the woods. So he got the truck and he had already looked at the edge of the property where the cabin and that was. So his mother was there. So his mother headed up through the woods by foot over to the other road, to the intersection of the other 2 roads, because the boot print they found was straight on the edge of the bank. It looked like it was pointing up over the side, up over. It looked like it was heading up off the bank into the woods. So his mother went searching for the kids up in the woods by foot, while Daniel grabbed his van or his truck and went out the driveway and he circled around the roads, and his mother went straight through and they pretty well met over the other side. So then that was 2 searches, the 30-second search by foot by Daniel, and then it was into the woods, right? So by the time Daniel gets back, the Mounties had now the story now. This is true. My sources verified even this conversation. When Daniel got back after the 30-second search, and Malaya looked at him kind of stunned and said, should I call the cops? And Daniel said, of course, yes, call the effing cops. And that was his words. She called the cops. Daniel took his truck and went looking around the road for the kids. He had already checked beside the place. His mother was heading up through the woods following the direction of this track, and she was going by foot through the woods, searching through the woods. And by the time Daniel came back, the Mounties was very close, and I even checked the timeline 3 or 4 different ways. It was 16 minutes later from the time Malaya called the cops that the Mounties landed. Now, this is how fast this happened. Now, they was up the road investigating another thing when they got the call. So it was only 16 minutes before the Mounties landed, which is goddamn fast. So then Malaya started talking about abduction. She changed her story and started abduction. Then she started, now why she now, see, there's where she made a mistake. She was in panic mode, and first she said the woods, and then she said abduction. And that threw the cops into a totally other, a totally other manner. So then they started looking at search. The cops did a good job that way. Immediately they looked around themselves as much as they could quickly, and they was counting. They had to move fast because in these cases, apparently the first few hours are very important, because I guess the kids can't travel that far, in the first few hours. So anyway, then immediately they went getting searchers and dogs out there, right? So things escalated. So by the time Malaya even had the chance to calm down and get her wits about things had escalated so fast and so big, and then she couldn't back out in her mind. She couldn't change her story. Right, guys, that's the end of part 2B of Darin Geddes on It's a Crime in Shame live. Part 2C will be my next video. Thank you, take care, stay safe.